season open production of Giacomo Puccini's Turandot. My name is Dagenais. I'm a preview speaker with the Lyric Opera Guild, and I'm here in the Lyric Opera's new Opera Center. That's the new production and rehearsal facility for the Lyric Opera that is just opened. And I'm standing in front of just a small piece of the extraordinary set which you're going to be enjoying in the Lyric Opera's opening production of Turandot. You know, this is the first production of the Lyric Opera in the spectacular new Kauffman Center for the Performing Arts, a world-class facility which will be one of the great opera houses of the world when it opens up. And so for this first performance, the Lyric Opera wanted to do something really special. Well, what could we do that's more special than performing one of the greatest grand operas ever written, Giacomo Puccini's Turandot? It'll be spectacular. The Lyric Opera's set designer, Keith Brumley, has designed a set which is the largest and most interesting of all the Lyric Opera's history. You'll see a scene change live on stage. We have a huge chorus, a huge orchestra, marvelous singers, and one of the great, great grand operas of all time. So let's focus on Turandot for just a minute. So where does Turandot, where did it come from? Well, there was an Italian writer by the name of Gozzi back in the Renaissance who wrote a series of sort of legendary tales, and one of those was the tale of an ancient Chinese princess who has it out for all men because an ancestor of hers was victimized by a man, and so she has pledged that anybody who sues for her hand must face a test of 3 very difficult riddles, and if they fail to answer the riddles, she will chop off their heads. Well, as the curtain draws open, she has chopped off the heads of many men because none have been able to answer these 3 riddles. But in the first scene of Turandot, in the first act, we're introduced to a prince from a faraway province. Prince Calaf is his name, and his ancient father Timur, who's accompanied by a very loyal slave girl by the name of Lise. And the 3 of them happen upon this scene, hear the story. The prince sees the princess and decides that he is going to try for his hand. And at the end of the first act, he strikes the big gong, indicating that he wishes to take up the challenge. The second act of Turandot has one of the most famous scenes in all of opera, where he is faced with the 3 difficult riddles, somehow manages to answer them, and she realizes that she's lost. She sings a fabulous aria in this act, and there's lots of wonderful choral music as well. And as the act ends, she pleads with her ancient father, saying, "Let me off the hook. I don't want to have to marry this man. I didn't think anybody would ever really be able to answer the questions." But he says, "No, you must stick to your word." But the prince realizes he would rather have her in love than by force, and so he makes a bargain with her. He says, "If you can guess my name by dawn, then I will let you out of your promise," because nobody knows his name. She spends the night searching for his name, and while she does so, he sings one of the most fabulous tenor arias of all time, Nessun Dorma. None shall sleep until his name is discovered. I need to drop a footnote in here. In the last World Cup, the English soccer team adopted Nessun Dorma as its official fight song. An opera aria? A fight song for a soccer team? It gives you an idea of what a challenging and wonderful piece of music this is. In the third act, she discovers his name, only because he's decided to tell her. He's placed himself in her hands, and in a wonderful duet, he sings of his love for her, and he convinces her of what love can really mean to her life. And as the opera ends, she says to the assembled court, "I know his name, and his name is love." And the opera ends as happily as it can. Well, there's a little bit of a doubt about that, but as happily as it can, given an ancient Chinese legend. So for this wonderful opera and this spectacular musical experience, the Lyric Opera has assembled a really remarkable cast. Singing the title role of Turandot is a soprano named Lise Lindstrom. Now, Lise Lindstrom is probably the world's greatest exponent of this role. She has sung the role at the Metropolitan Opera in most of the world's great opera houses. Just a few months ago, she sang it at La Scala in Milan, the temple of opera. Imagine the Lyric Opera presenting a singer who's appeared in the same role at La Scala. I'm not sure it's ever happened before. For the role of the Prince Calaf, the Lyric Opera has Arnold Rawls. He was the tenor the Lyric used for Aida, done a few years ago at the Lyric Opera. Fine singer. His career has gone up since then. He had his Metropolitan Opera debut a few months ago in Verdi's The Trovatore, and according to one blogger, brought down the house. So he will be the Calaf. His father, the ancient Timur, is sung by probably the greatest bass of the last 50 years, Samuel Ramey. who is actually a native of Kansas. He's never appeared on the Lyric Opera stage before, but he's been a famous singer all over the world. Opera companies have done productions in his name, have mounted productions specifically for him. He's recorded almost every major bass role there is, including all the great roles of Verdi and Rossini and Donizetti and many of the other Italian composers, as well as many others as well. He's now nearing the end of his career, but what a privilege it is for us to bring you for this opening performance the extraordinary voice and stage presence of Ramey. For the Slave Girl Ligue, we have Elizabeth Caballero, a Cuban-American soprano who is making her way in this role. Recently sang it at the Florida Grand Opera to rave reviews. So an extraordinary cast for the Lyric Opera, a chorus of 55 people, the largest in the Lyric's history, and of course this magnificent set showing off the wonderful stage machinery and the abilities of the Kauffman Center for Performing Arts. So, Grand Opera, great music, wonderful cast, opening of a new opera house. What more could you ask for? I hope you have your tickets for Turandot already, because some performances are near to being sold out. So buy them now if you don't, and I look forward to seeing you at the opera.